All right, let's clap it up. All right, Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, since 1969, under Commander General Yohana. And we are here to teach the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American man, woman, and child their true identity, and that they are God's chosen people, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You know, and tonight we're going to go over, we're going to go into Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the patriarchs of Israel, which means the fathers of Israel, and how Israel came about, who the Most High made a covenant with, right? You know, he made a covenant with Abraham, and that covenant, which is an agreement, that's what a covenant is, it's an agreement. That covenant would be that the Most High will be an everlasting God to Abraham and his seed. And that's what, it's lucky. That's what, the covenant was about. You know, and, you got the Christian church out there, they say that, God loves everybody, you know what I'm saying? He's dealing with everybody, and that's not true. He made an everlasting covenant with Abraham and Abraham's seed, and so on and so forth. You know, before the flood, right? You know, he didn't have a people per se. You know, he didn't have Israel or Adamites, I guess you could say, or whatever. You know, he had particular people that was just, dealing with the laws or whatever. He gave them the breath of life. But, of course, as we know, before that flood, people started being wicked. Man started being wicked. And so what does the Most High do? He flooded the whole world, you know what I'm saying? And he saved Noah and his 3 sons. And Abraham comes out of Shem, one of Noah's sons. You know, you have Shem, Japheth, and Ham. You know, but the Most High said he was going to deal with just one person, one people. And he dealt with one person, which was Abraham. And, because Abraham, he was an upright man. But we're gonna get into that tonight. And I'll just go over these scriptures. You know what I'm saying? But what else I got? Yeah, so let's go ahead and start. We're going to start at Genesis chapter 12. Let's see. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 1. And it reads, "Now the Lord has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee." Verse 2. "And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing." This is what the Most High told Abraham, right? Well, Abram, before his name was changed to Abraham. And we're going to go and see why he actually told Abram to leave his kindred, his father's house, because that's important right there, right? You know what I'm saying? We're going to go to the book of Joshua and see why Abraham, the Most High, told Abraham to leave his father's house. Joshua 24, starting at verse 2. And it reads, you got it? So, you should use your phone. I'll wait for you in a minute. But like I said, the Christian church will have you think that, the Most High is dealing with everyone. But that's not true, you know what I'm saying? He just, he could do what he wanted to do. He created all of us. So he, just like he has a favorite bird, he has a favorite flower, he has a favorite son, which is Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? And he has a favorite people. You know what I'm saying? He has a chosen people. You know, that's it. You know, it says in Exodus 4:22, he said, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. That's what he said. You know what I'm saying? And he created all the other people as well, but he put them aside. Just like we're going to read tonight that he put other people aside too. You know, Abraham's other children. You know, and Abraham did have other children. You know, but only one seed. Only one seed was chosen, and was the promise was given to. You know, so this is the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 2, and it reads, and Joshua said unto all the people, thus saith the Lord God of Israel, not everybody, of Israel. Your fathers dwelt on the other side of the flood in old time. And it's like even Terah, the father of Abraham and the father of Nachor, and they served other gods. So now we start to understand why the Most High told Abraham to leave, you know what I'm saying, his kindred. They were serving other gods. And as we know, God, you know, the Most High says, you know, I am a jealous God. You know what I'm saying? There's no other gods before me, you know. And verse 3, and it reads, and I took your father Abraham from the other side of the flood and led him throughout all the land of Canaan and multiplied his seed and gave him Isaac. There you go right there. Now, you know, it's important to know the reason why he had to leave, you know, because, you know, we go through it over here, right? You know what I'm saying, as far as Israel, you know, being around other nations, they're gonna seduce you. You know, they're gonna tempt you, you know what I'm saying, to celebrate their holidays. You know what I'm saying? They pagan holidays and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard to shake that stuff, man, unless the Most High is just dealing with you. But you know, because we started this stuff, you know, celebrating Christmas, celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating Easter, or what have you. You know what I'm saying? Since yay big, and especially with so-called Black, Latino, Native Americans, you know what I'm saying? That's like, you know, if they even celebrate, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got some Native Americans out there that celebrate Thanksgiving. You know, you got to think about that, right? You know, with the atrocities that the so-called white man took them through, you know. But like I said, you're gonna have a problem, you know, when we go back to you know, they get us when we're young, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, the so-called Black, Latino, Native American, you know what I'm saying, we tend to have, you know, throughout the years and stuff like that, throughout the 365 days out of the year, pretty much. I mean, we going through it, you know what I'm saying, as a people. You know what I'm saying? We fight amongst ourselves, you know what I'm saying, amongst, you know, our families, you know what I'm saying? People, you know, our intermediate family, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is all we do. This is all we know. It's because we're destroyed. You know what I'm saying? And we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge because we don't know who we are as people, right? You know, so we going through it because we in captivity. You know what I'm saying? Because the so-called white man, you know, he oppresses us 24/7. That's what he does. You know what I'm saying? We tend to live check to check, you know, on the daily. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. You know what I'm saying? We suffer on the daily. Everything's a struggle, and they built this place to struggle. You know what I'm saying? You know, they don't. That's how evil they are. They don't want you to be comfortable here. You know what I'm saying? Which is, you know, that's just an evil thing, right? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's why the Most High say, you know what I'm saying, get thee away from your kindred, and away from away from your father's house, because they were over there following the I think it was I forgot. I think it was some Hamites. So I don't know if it was Egyptians or whatever like that, but they were following their gods. You know what I'm saying? They were over there following other gods. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he had to deal with, he had to get Abraham away from them and deal with Abraham and build Abraham. You know what I'm saying? He was already a just man. He was already upright. He already, you know, knew the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Wanted to learn. You know, so the Most High dealt with him. But like I said, though, I mean, as far as, you know, let's talk about, you know, Christmas, right? You know, people just celebrated Christmas. You know what I'm saying? And our people don't even know why they bring a tree into their house. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, why are you bringing a tree into your house? Where did you get that tradition from? You know what I'm saying? You never even asked. You know what I'm saying? Because you were small, and it was you know, plays on that, what's that, the dopamine in your brain and stuff, make you happy, what have you. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a kid, you know, you was happy, decorating, you knew you were going to get presents and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It was all sorcery. You know, it was witchcraft. It was to uh, 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 get you through vain deceit. That's what it was all about. You know what I'm saying? And so, therefore, when you get older, you're gonna want to have the same. You know, you're gonna want to do the same thing for your kids, You know what I'm saying? And then they can see, oh, mom and dad, you know, they being nice. You know, because now you in the what they say, the Christmas spirit. You know, here's a spirit to be jolly. You know what I'm saying? You think about it. So you know, and you know, and they actually, I mean, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't want to say nothing. You know, like I don't want to get into it like that, right? But you know, that's how they get you, man. But yet, back to the Christmas tree, you have no idea why you bringing a tree in that house, you know. But there's a such thing as tree worship, and that goes all the way back to, you know, there's a bunch of nations that actually worship trees. You know what I'm saying? You had the first three was the Germanic people. You know what I'm saying? You got the Celtics. You had the Norse people, right? You know what I'm saying? Then you had the Egyptians. You had the Greeks. You had all kinds of people worshiping the tree. You know what I'm saying? And of course, you know, the Germanic people, the Celtics people, and the Norse people, those were all Vikings. And they came, you know, the Vikings, you know what I'm saying? They came over here as, you know, the pilgrims, even pilgrims were Viking, you know, they had Viking blood in them. They were from the Norse tribe and the Scandinavian tribes and stuff like that. All the, you know, what you know as European tribes. You know what I'm saying? They're like, you know, so they're gonna bring their traditions. You know what I'm saying? They go, you know, and you know, I mean, it was they what is it? I don't want to go there right now. But you know, so this is what you're doing. You're bringing a tree, and that tree is an idol. You know what I'm saying? You might say you don't bow down to it and everything like that, but you're doing something that they did. You know what I'm saying? They believe in this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's against the Most High. It's an idol. You know what I'm saying? And the Most High don't like idols. You know what I'm saying? He said that's the first idol was the first fornication of men or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. I believe it's in the Apocrypha. You know what I'm saying? But that was the first thing men started doing. It started idol worship. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, as far as fornication towards the Most High. You know what I'm saying? Spiritual fornication. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have the Christian church teaching, you know what I'm saying, on fornication, it's always about sex. You know what I'm saying? Nah, the Most High look at us as his bride, and we are his, you know, he's the groom, right? You know what I'm saying? So, and then, you know, spiritually, we're supposed to worship him. But if we start worshiping another gods, we're fornicating, you know what I'm saying, spiritually against the Most High. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's talking about, spiritual fornication. You know, but the pastor, you know, because he always thinking about sex, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, that's all he's going to do. He's talking about fornication this, fornication that. And he can't wait to leave the church and go fornicate. You know what I'm saying? But well, yeah, fornication, shit, commit adultery, you know, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? like, you know what I'm saying? You know, you got wasn't there TD Jakes? You know what I'm saying? He the power bottom. You know what I'm saying? So he was in a house full of other people, so that's fornication. You know what I'm saying? Like doing a wild thing, right? With Diddy and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But, so you got that with the Christmas. So there's a such thing as tree worship. If you can find what you call it, encyclopedias, history books. You know what I'm saying? Certain history books, they got this stuff. Certain encyclopedias, they got all this stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? And the older, the better. You know, I didn't tell you all about this stuff, tree worship and what have You know what I'm saying? You got that. I mean, and the Christmas the tree is actually in Jeremiah. We're gonna go ahead and go get it. It's in Jeremiah 10, right? Jeremiah 10, chapter 10. And then our people, they so stubborn, say, oh, that's not what that means, you know what I'm saying? Just so they could, still celebrate Christmas. This is when our family get together, you know what I'm saying? And how selfish are you, you know what I'm saying, giving gifts to one another and shit like that. You feel me? Like I said it before, you know what I'm saying? You should, if you should be buying your kids gifts or your loved ones or wherever, just out of love, just to show you love them. You know what I'm saying? Each other and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And to build yourselves up. You know what I'm saying? And be a tight-knit family, whatever. But yet, all we do is fight. You know what I'm saying? Each other. We got brothers out, looking like each other. You know what I'm saying? Out in the streets, unaliving each other. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy stuff. And this is this is the curses we had to go under. We go through. You know what I'm saying? But what is it? Jeremiah 10. It's about the Christmas tree, right? 10 and where am I at? Okay, start at 1. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Verse 2. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen. Of the who? Of the heathen. Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain. Vain is foolish, right? Very foolish. It's foolish for you to bring the Christmas tree, a tree. A lot of people call it a Christmas tree. So just call it a tree. It's a damn tree in your house. Unless you bring in a big ass plant, you know what I'm saying? Because you get oxygen. You help that thing get, because plants give you oxygen and everything like that. But this tree is temporary. You know what I'm saying? And this tree is just, you go to, let's keep reading this real quick. For one cutteth the tree out of the forest. That's where Christmas trees come from, right? The work of the hands of the workman with an axe. They chop it down, right, with an axe. They deck it with silver and gold. What's that song? Deck the halls with some. Deck the halls of some jolly. I don't know what's the damn song. I think I was singing along. I didn't remember the shit. You know what I'm saying? But they deck it with silver and gold. What you do with your tree? You deck that mug with ornaments. You know what I'm saying? And usually they're silver, they're gold, they're red, green, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you got those colors there. You know what I'm saying? They deck it with silver and gold. They fasten it with the nails, with hammers that it move not. You put it in the little, the thing with the water. You know what I'm saying? They got the screws that you know what I'm saying? That's what you put it in. But at the place where you get the Christmas tree from, they got the boards, little plywood, whatever, and they hammer it. And that's how they're standing up, right? The same thing, right? But it's right here, But like I said, our people are so destroyed and so wicked and stiff-necked. You know what I'm saying? They'll see this and be like, oh, that's not what that means. Try to give it some type of justification, or not to, acknowledge this. You know what I'm saying? But it's in the book. It's right here in the book. I didn't make this up. It's lucky. All right. Let's see here. What we got? Oh, you know what? And, let me talk about since we're talking about Christmas. Christmas in the tree. You know what I'm saying? Because it is a deity. It's a damn false god. You know what I'm saying? It's an idol. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You're putting a false god in your house, a tree at that. You know what I'm saying? Don't even know why. You never asked why. You just did it. You know what I'm saying? But with Thanksgiving, You know, people just celebrate Thanksgiving, right? You know what I'm saying? Thanksgiving now. You got the reason why they had Thanksgiving, right? You know, because you know when the Pilgrims came over, which you know, like I said, used to be Vikings. You know what I'm saying? Until they, you know, they advanced, you know, changed their clothes and shit like that. Put the dumb shit up. Took the you know, the big old bear the bear jackets. You know what I'm saying? The crowns, the hats with the horns sticking out. You know what I'm saying? Then they went to the Pilgrim, little hat, the top hat, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The little thing and the collar and the sock, the pants up high, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They went, you know, they went that route. You know, time went on. You know what I'm saying? But they were Vikings. You know what I'm saying? These Pilgrims were known as they were Vikings. But you know, they came over. You know what I'm saying? They, you know, clicked up with the so-called Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the natives taught them how to harvest. You know, harvest and you know, grow food and everything like that, right? You know what I'm saying? And it was a Thanksgiving Thursday, especially Thursday. You know, that's really key because that's they had a great harvest that around that time Thursday. I don't know, something like that. This is the history, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm going off the top. So they, you know, the harvest was great. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they dedicated on, you know, Thanksgiving and Thursday and stuff like that, what happened. So history like that, some nonsense like that, right? But at the same time, you got this god, a Norse god. He's a Norse god, and the Germanic people in the Celts, they probably call him something different because they all do that. You know what I'm saying? Like Wednesday is Woden to some of them, and Odin to some of them. You know what I'm saying? But it's the same god. They have the same attributes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But Thor, which is the thunder god, he's the thunder god. He's the god of thunder, and he's god of harvest. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, Thursday is named after Thor. Like, just put it together, you know, put two and two together. It's in history books, it's in encyclopedias, and that's who you're worshiping on Thursday. That's what you're worshiping. They mixed it all in and did all that nonsense. But not only that, you still worshiping, you still celebrating Thanksgiving, knowing the history. Unless you was under a rock and stuff, you didn't learn that in school, learn nothing, you know, since then about what they did to the so-called Native Americans. They took their land. The Trail of Tears. If anybody want to learn about it, read the Trail of Tears, man, on what Andrew Jackson did to the little so-called Native American babies. You know what I'm saying? When they were walking in the snow and stuff like that, the babies would get I think it was colic, something. Is it colic? You know what I'm saying? And he'd get the babies by the because it was slow, the babies were slowing down there. He'd get them by their ankles in, bash them up against a tree, you know, hit their head up against a tree. You know what I'm saying? That's what Andrew Jackson did. You know, I think he's on Mount Rushmore. I think, you know, they're the white man's forefathers, so-called white man's forefathers, right? But that's what they did on the Trail of Tears, man. You know, read the book. But anyways, you know, and they unalived, you know, these people after the so-called Native Americans showed them how to grow food. They wouldn't have survived without them. And you know what else they did? You know what I'm saying? They gave them smallpox, blankets with smallpox. That's some evil. That is evil. And yet we got people out here celebrating this shit still. You know what I'm saying? And if you didn't know, now you know. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't believe me, look it up. Bottom line. You know, but you know, what was I gonna say with that? Slip my mind. But yeah, I mean, if you wanna, you know, because they always say, oh, it's about family. It's about family. Why you got to do it on that day? Now that you notice what's going on, what happened, why you got to do it on that day? You know what I'm saying? You can, you know, if it's all about family, why don't you have your own family, the Johnson family? You know, just like we have what you call that with families come together and stuff like that.
Family
reunions, you know, family reunions, whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? You know, you don't have to have it on the so-called white man's day. It's a pagan day. You know what I'm saying? You over here celebrating. Not only that, it's a slap in the face to the children whose heads got smashed up against the tree. Babies. You know what I'm saying? That's what you represent. That's what you condone that. You got to ask yourself these things. And if so, you're evil just like them, and most I gonna deal with you too. Bottom line. You know what I'm saying? But that's that. Let's get going. Let's go to Genesis 17. Get back to that Abraham. So now we know why Abraham had to leave. Abraham, the Most High made a covenant with Abraham, right? And then he said, because he was going to deal with Abraham, and Abraham only and his seed after him, he told him to get away from your father, man. Get away from your kindred, because they over there celebrating, worshiping other gods. You know what I'm saying? We just read it. I'm not making this up. We just read it. That was in the book of Joshua, right? Joshua 24. But let's go to Genesis 17. Like I said, we're going to go over the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Just a brief little history. Somewhat. Let's see, 17. Okay. Starting at 17:1. Yeah, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 1. And it reads, "And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect." Oh, let's stop right there real quick. He said, be thou perfect, right? Christian church, once again, they say you can't be perfect. You know what I'm saying? They say you can't be perfect. But the Most High said, be thou ye perfect. Not only that, he said, what? Noah was perfect. He said Job was perfect. Christ said in Matthew 5:48, be thou ye perfect. You know what I'm saying? He said it too. He told the disciples that. Be perfect. You know what I'm saying? And how do you be perfect? Laws, statutes, and commandments. But remember, Christian church pastors say those laws are done away with. You know what I'm saying? That's what they say. They even say, they got all kinds of sayings. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, God hates the sin, but love the sinner. There's nowhere in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? There's nowhere in the Bible. What type of sense does that make? He hates the sin, but he loves the sinner. You seriously? Christ died for you to keep sinning? You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. What is it that you you listen to a Christian, a so-called pastor or anybody, even if they're not a pastor, they got a podcast and they talking about it. They are wrong with that sin. They were like, if you're struggling with the sin and you gotta pray, you shouldn't be struggling with sin. You know what I'm saying? Look, okay, what is it? Because these laws are not grievous. You know what I'm saying? What are you having problems? You know what I'm saying? The pastor, he having problems, like I said, committing adultery, because that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? They put away their wives 24/7. You got a pastor be on his fourth wife. Like, damn, nigga, the first one, what's going on, man? You a child of God. You can't get it right the first time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? What? You got a problem, what? Eating pork? You know what I'm saying? Like what kind of laws? What other kind of law? Unaliving somebody? You know what I'm saying? Like, what laws can't you keep? Because they say the laws are done away with. You know what I'm saying? What laws can't you keep? And you just gonna willingly sin? Like, oh, what they say? Oh man, I'm backslid. I backslid. Some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man, just do these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. It's not grievous. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing, man. That pastor, he waiting, you know what I'm saying, or whoever else. They teach everybody, the whole congregation and stuff like that. They teach the Christian world that, hey, you know, I'm gonna sin somewhere. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something. You know, you know, whatever you doing out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like watching porn and shit. You know what I'm saying? Doing whatever. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stop that shit. Bottom line. You know what I'm saying? And get into these laws, statutes, and commandments and do them. They're not done away with. Bottom freaking line. You know what I'm saying? There's not one law you cannot keep, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not grievous, like I said. You know what I'm saying? But yet the pastor, Christian church tells you that the laws are done away with. Why? So you can still remain a sinner. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, you know, they got, you know, because we got a dietary law, and that'd be one of the main things. You know what I'm saying? Put the drugs down. You know, put the drugs down. And if you got a problem with that, man, call up the ISUPK, call the counselor, whatever, and you know, try to wean yourself off, man. Read these scriptures, get into these scriptures, and try to have the Most High build your spirit. You got to start somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But it's lucky. But it says, you know, like I said, the Most High said, "Be thou ye perfect." You know what I'm saying? Be thou perfect. Christ said, "Be thou ye perfect." You know, and like I said, in 5, let's go there real quick. Matthew 5:48. You know, I don't want to talk it. Let's read it. You know, read it verbatim. Matthew 5:28. 48. Sloppy. Because I think he said, "Be thou ye perfect." The Most High told Abraham to be thou perfect, right? Mm-hmm. Is it 5:48? Yeah. He said, "Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." That's what he said. So therefore, what did we learn here? We can be perfect. And how do you be perfect? Follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't hard. It ain't rocket science. You know what I'm saying? Verse 2. "And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly." Verse 3. "And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying," verse 4, "As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations." Yeah, he said he was going to be a father of many nations, right? Abraham had, in total, he had 8 sons. He had 8 sons. Remember, his first son was Ishmael. But remember, the promise went to Isaac. That was the seed that was chosen, right? You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into that. But if people didn't know, Abraham had 8 sons. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah. Trooper Izarwan. Checking in. Like the water Hebrew. Let's see. Where we gonna go? Yeah, we're gonna go to let's jump to 15. Verse 15. Same chapter, verse 15. Right? Verse 15. It reads, "And God said unto Abram," it's lucky, "Abraham, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be." Verse 16, "And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her." You know what I mean? You want to answer this? You know how many children Sarah had? Just one. She had Isaac. That's it. And you see, it said nations, plural. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a future prophecy. Because 12 tribes of Israel. There's 12 of us. You know what I'm saying? So That was a future prophecy right there. All right, so let's drop down to 19 right quick. Verse 19, and God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. You gotta keep following it. Keep following this pattern. He picked Abraham, picked Isaac, and now we're about to find out what seed from Isaac he gonna pick. You know what I'm saying? Well, what son from Isaac? Because the seed split. I guess the seed split make twins, right? You know, if I'm not mistaken, but I might be mistaken. I think the seed might split. I'm not good at biology. Isn't that biology? Hey, but so everlasting covenant. He said with Isaac, and that covenant is, covenant means what? Agreement. And that covenant will be, he's going to be his God. What was it in 12? He's going to be his everlasting Abraham's everlasting God and his seed after him. You know what I'm saying? No one else but Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, let's go. Let's go to Genesis 25 real quick. So let's show his other sons real quick. And what he said, what Abraham did. Let's go to 25, verse 25, chapter 1. Verse 25, chapter 1 and 2. Starting at 1, slightly. And it reads, then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah. Verse 2. And she bare him Zimran, and Jokshan, and Medan, and Midian, and Ishbak, and Shua. Okay, that's what? That's 7 sons, right? No, 6 sons right there. That's 6 sons from Keturah. Remember, Ishmael is the oldest. And then Isaac is older than all these cats. You know what I'm saying? It's Ishmael, Isaac, and then all these cats right here. You know what I'm saying? So that's eight children in all, right? But remember, the Most High chose one seed. And he can do that. He can do that. What does it say? Because, people, like I said, this is another thing that shows you how God isn't for everyone. He's only for one particular people, which is Israel, the so-called Black, Latino, Native American man, woman, child. You know what I'm saying? He can do that. Why? Because he created all of us. He can choose who he want to love. He can choose who he want to hate. You know what I'm saying? The scripture says in Isaiah 55:8, my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways, saith the Lord. That's what it says. Man thinks like that. Man want to hold hands and you know what I'm saying, sing kumbaya and we are the world and shit like that and be one big melting pot. Meanwhile, the people you hold hands with commit genocide against you. Like crazy work, right? You know what I'm saying? Like and just because you had 1 or 2 friends that was white and shit like that, like no, they don't be able to be saved. They're gonna be saved. Like majority of us don't even have white friends. You know what I'm saying? Like like black folks, some black folks, they don't even have them. They'll die for them. They kill, they unalive us. They unalive their own brother for a white man, for a white woman. You know what I'm saying? Oh, don't let it be a brother for a white woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, and she can be fat and sloppy. That's like, what is it with our men? Like, damn.
Should do the sloppy of the doll that tests on adults.
Oh, the paper?
No, the doll test they do on kids.
Oh, yeah.
Should do it on adults.
Yeah, right. They, man, You know what? And let it be, white folks in front of them, putting on the test. They gonna sit there and coon out like a motherfucker. Like, oh, this white dog seed, yeah. The reason why they gonna come up with some crazy shit, right? You know what I'm saying? But let's see. Verse 5. Verse 5. Yeah, let's jump to verse 5. This is chapter 25, verse 5. Genesis chapter 25, verse 5. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. He gave all that he had unto Isaac, right? But unto the sons of the concubines, which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived eastward unto the east country. Now you might think that Abraham was a deadbeat father, right? He sent them away. That's how you're going to read it, especially if you're unlearned. That's not the case. You know what I'm saying? He sent them away. He was dealing with, dealing with Isaac. He was dealing with Isaac. He was just like, hey, y'all, do what you're doing. I still love y'all, everything like that. We're still supporting them and everything like that, But I'm going to deal with Isaac. I'm dealing with Isaac. That was his main, he put his emphasis on Isaac. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High said it, right? You know what I'm saying? And we're going to find that out. We're going to find that out, right? But let's go real quick. Let's jump down to 8, verse 8. Watch this. I sound like a Christian. Watch this. Watch this. They always say that shit. Watch this. They about to make a fat ass point. Watch this. Verse 8. Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. Verse 9. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah. Let's start right there. Who was there? Because Ishmael, we gonna go read it. Let's go read it real quick. Ishmael got sent away too, just like his other sons. He sent them away. But who was there to bury him? That's how you know he wasn't no deadbeat father. He was still there for Ishmael. He was still, and the Most High blessed Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? He made him 12 princes. You know what I'm saying? They over there, the Arabs over there got all that oil, all the oil. That's how they 12 princes. They got all that money. Mother suckers over there, man. You know what I'm saying? And you still got the Moors over there too, the dark ones. They just put them, the only way you can see them if you go over there. They ain't gonna put them on TV. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna put the ones that look like basically Issachar. Like I remember like on the Zohan, what I remember they're like, oh dude looks like he could pass for Mexican. Like he was dancing and shit with a ponytail. It was straight up. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. But that's how you know. And if you don't believe it, you know what I'm saying? Let's go to Genesis 21 real quick. Genesis verse 21.
Chapter?
Genesis chapter 21. It's lucky. Right here. And this was the Most High that told them too. The Most High said don't even trip. This is Genesis chapter 21, verse 9. Start at verse 9. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking. Verse 10. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. Verse 11. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. Verse 12. And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman. In all that Sarah had said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. I mean, there you go, right there. But like I said, the reason why I read this because he sent them away. I mean, they went to no, but I don't, it wasn't that hard. I mean, they went to go see him. Probably, he probably came, especially when Isaac got bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like, that nigga couldn't mock him anymore. It's like, man, they was there burying their dad, right? You know what I'm saying? We just read it. They were there together burying their dad. You don't think the other brothers was there? I'm not saying it's just hypothetical. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they were there, but they could have been there. They know who their daddy was. You know what I'm saying? These men, especially, men of the Lord, they ain't deadbeat fathers. You know what I'm saying? They take care of their seed. Bottom line. At least he's supposed to. But let's go to let's go to 25, Genesis 25. Genesis 25, and starting at 19. All right. Hey, Shalom, Yahabashim Yahshua Barakatah, priest and officer of 1,000, your bar checking in. Like the water I want. Let's see here. This is Genesis chapter 25, verse 19. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac. Verse 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethel, the Syrian, of Padanaram. The sister of Laban, the Syrian. Verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. She didn't have children, right? And the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. So she ended up getting pregnant. Most High, Isaac was talking, prayed to the Most High, like, hey, what's going on? Can my wife get pregnant? Can we have a child? Basically. And now verse 22. I almost did the Christian pastor. Now watch this. Verse 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So she had twins. Okay. Now, out of these 2 twins, sorry. Out of these 2 twins, one of these twins is going to be chosen. And we're going to find out who these twins are in Romans chapter 9. Let's go to the book of Romans chapter 9. You got it? Mm-hmm. Let's go to the book of Romans chapter 9, starting at verse 10. So this is Paul, right? Talking about who the Most High chose. He's talking about Israel, and who the Most High chose, right? Out of the children, he chose the children before they were born. Before they were even born, he chose who he wanted to. He chose that seed. Who he's going to deal with, who that covenant belonged to, that he made with, he promised Abraham, Isaac. And now we're going to find out it was Jacob. That was his name, Verse 10. This is the book of Romans chapter 9, verse 10. And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, Verse 11, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. Verse 12, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. Verse 13, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Esau was the oldest. You know what I'm saying? He was the first one to come out. You know, and Jacob is the one that the Most High chose. You know what I'm saying? The Most High is going to deal with. Okay? You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, and let's talk about, and let's read that again. Because the Christian church would say, God doesn't hate. The Most High doesn't hate. It says it right here. Am I not reading this? You know, am I not? And this is the New Testament. You know what I'm saying? Because they you know, they try to play, they do, you know, they mess with what semantics. You know what I'm saying? They try to be, you know, philosophize. You know what I'm saying? Philosophy and vain deceit. You know what I'm saying? They try all the tricks in the book. Some of them were good too. You know what I'm saying? Look, I mean, look, they don't call them prosperity pastors for nothing. You know, mega churches. You know what I'm saying? They're doing a great job.
Slakia. When it talks about there's a time to love, a time to hate, is that the First Testament?
I believe so. That's
okay.
Ecclesiastes.
So first and second.
Ecclesiastes. Yeah. There's a time to love and a time to hate. It's seasons. You know what I'm saying? For everything. But Ecclesiastes either chapter 1 or chapter 7. One. But yeah, let's talk about this. But 13 again. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. And it says, as it was written. Where was it written at? You know what I'm saying? It was written in the Old Testament, what they call the Old Testament, in Malachi 1. Yeah, look, let's go there. Go ahead.
I'd like to know the definition of hated in this context. Just to debunk, because you know Christians may say like, oh, it probably meant something else, or I'm curious.
You know what? That's a good question.
If we have the
you know what?
dictionary.
Like, slug it, Israel, real quick. I'll be right back. This is the New Strong's Bible Dictionary. If you don't have one, you should get it. You know what I'm saying? It breaks down the Hebrew and the Greek. For the Old Testament, the Hebrew is for the Old Testament, and the Greek is for the New Testament. So, hey, you know, it's funny because under hated, right? Mm-hmm. The first scripture is Genesis 27:41, and it says Esau hated Jacob. Like, it's right here. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what was this? Romans, right?
Yes.
Okay, Romans
9.
Romans 9. Okay, 34:04. 34:04. Oh, to detest. Detest. To love less. Hateful.
Huh. To love less.
Okay. Come on now. That's what it means right there. I ain't a boy. Okay, so you got to be, especially, you know. Oh, I said we were going to go to Malachi, right? Malachi 1, right quick. You don't have to go there if you want to. You can stay. Oh, you already good? Mm-hmm. All right, this is the book of Malachi. chapter 1 and verse 2. I have loved you, said the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Saith the Lord, yet I loved Jacob. Verse 3, and I hated Esau. There you go right there. You can't get around it. So he hates a people. He hates Esau. And Esau is still here. You know, the powers that be, the Christian church, who the powers that be runs the Christian church, or the Catholic church, whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you Esau gone. They don't know who Esau is. You know what I'm saying? But Most High does. Most High does. And the thing is, you know, I mean, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like just if you said, man, what people in this earth that you will think the Most High will hate? Like the only one nation of people, if you had to choose one. Like, let's say if your life depended on it. I bet you everyone would say the white man. Like, you have to. If you don't, you're stupid. You know what I'm saying? Because you watch movies, right? Every movie that you watch, the Asians call the white man the devil. They all call the white man the devil in their movies. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making this stuff up. I mean, and then not only that, if you know the history of the white man, I mean, these are some treacherous motherfuckers. They are. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, just think of that. You know what I'm saying? If one people, even if you don't think it's Esau, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you don't believe that it's Esau, if you one of those non-believers and stuff like that, and we talking out of our mouths. I'm saying, like derogatory and shit, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, come on, man. I mean, shit. I mean, yeah. I mean, that, you know, I'm just going along, man. But and then not only that, he told Israel that he was going to put us, he was going to put us into captivity, right? And he was going to basically put a people over us who he said wasn't no people. He was going to provoke us to jealousy with a foolish nation, and that was Esau. You know what I'm saying? He called them no people. He said they were no people. You know what I'm saying? But where we at? Let's keep going. Let's go to 15. 14. This is verse 14. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? God forbid. Verse 15. For he saith to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. Like I said, Isaiah 55 and 8. My thoughts are not your thoughts, nor my ways your ways, saith the Lord. We think like that. Man thinks like that. Man thinking is vain, straight up. You know what I'm saying? We try to go against the grain, man. We try to go against the Most High. You know, we try to be, I'm talking about man here, you know what I'm saying? We try to be God. You know what I'm saying? As far as, dictating and stuff like that, and, changing scriptures and adding. It said, this book says, do not add or take from these scriptures. And the Christian church do just that. The Catholic church do just that. They add their own stuff and they take from this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then you have fools out there trying to battle you, you know what I'm saying, trying to use this man's doctrine. It's this man's doctrine, not the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And doctrine, what's a doctrine? You know what I'm saying? The doctrine is, related to fundamental. The word fundamental, if you look it up, you know what I'm saying? It's related to the word fundamental. What's fundamental? It's related to the word basic. So these Christians and Catholic Muslims, they ain't even learning shit, first of all. You know what I'm saying? But they learn it. If they do learn something, they learn the basic stuff. And they learn the lies. And that's what they're learning. You know what I'm saying? It's not even basic, it's just lies. You know? But they want to be led astray. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they want to be wicked. Bottom line. You know? But let's go to let's turn to Genesis 32. Genesis 32. Because we got to see how Jacob, you know, came about and how he got his name, right? You know what I'm saying? How he got the name Israel. You know, this we're going to find it right here. We're going to read about it right here. Genesis 32. Genesis 32. All right. All right. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 32, verse 22. And he rose up that night. This is talking about Jacob. Okay. This is talking about Jacob. This is what Jacob is going to wrestle. He gonna wrestle with the angel. All right. And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford Jabbok. I want to touch on, you know, for all the people that don't believe in much polygamy, you know what I'm saying? He took his 2 wives. And not only that, watch what's going to happen after this. You know what I'm saying? You know, watch what's going to happen after this, because, you know, Christian church, they find out you got 2 wives, they're going to go, boy, they're going to put you to death. They're trying to put you to death. They're going to point at you, you the most wickedest man ever. You know what I'm saying? Like crazy work, right? But it just started off saying he took his 2 wives. Now watch what happens. You don't think the Most High know he has 2 wives? You don't think this angel that the Most High just sent to him know he has 2 wives? They would be like, that nigga got 2 wives, man. Nah, you only supposed to have 1. You know what I'm saying? But nah, you know, it's a hard pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. So 24. So Slocky, verse 23. And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had. Verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. This man was an angel, right? Verse 25. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh. And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. That's how much power Jacob had. You know what I'm saying? It was wrestling. He was tussling with the angel. You know what I'm saying? The angel was like, damn, this nigga, man, let me touch that. And took his hip out. You know what I'm saying? And then at verse 26, and he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, and he still had him. Think about that. He took his hip out, right, out of socket. And the angel says, let me go. Because the day breaking, man, it's about to be daytime, man. Let me go. You know what I'm saying? That's how bad Jacob was, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the 12 tribes come from. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. That's our blood right there. You know what I'm saying? That's the blood we have in us. That's our DNA right there. Straight size, man. Are we not the salt of the earth? Can't nobody beat us in anything. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you leave us alone. Leave us alone. Let us do what we got to do. Let us build our nation. It'll be a wrap. It'll be a wrap. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they don't. That's why they don't let us out of their sight. They don't let us out of their sight one bit, because they know that's going to happen. Because they studied us and they know who we are. They know we are God's chosen people. Yeah. Verse 26. Let's start back at verse 26. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go except thou bless me. Jacob wanted a blessing. Verse 27, and he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. Verse 28, and he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God, and with men it has prevailed. That's what it means. That's what Israel means, prince of power. You know what I'm saying? And he became and he had 12 sons. You see, he had 11. He had 11 right here, and he had 2 wives. And then he had his women servants, which were his wives as well. Because remember, he had four of them. Is it 4? You know what I'm saying? I forgot their names too. Leah. The only reason why I know Leah is because we from Leah. I think Issachar from Leah. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, you know what I'm saying? I got to brush up on that. You know, but you know, so you know that's what his name means, Prince of Power, and he is the father of Israel. You know what I'm saying? So now let's go to let's go to Psalms 47, 147. So you got it there. I mean, we went from, you know, Abraham getting the covenant, you know what I'm saying, and his seed, which we had Isaac, right? You know what I'm saying? Isaac ended up having Jacob and Esau. Most High said, nah, get Esau up out of here. I hate that nigga. You know what I'm saying? And he said, I chose Jacob, you know, and then we find out Jacob got his name changed to Israel, which means Prince of Power, because he has power with the Most High. You know what I'm saying? The Most High is dealing with Jacob. You know what I'm saying? And changed his name to Israel, which are the 12 tribes of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. You know, bottom line. But and that's who Christ is coming back for. Let's get that straight too. He ain't coming back for nobody else. You know. But let's go to Psalms 147 right quick. Psalm 147. Because let's get something straight here, right? Let's get some understanding here. Where we at? It's Psalms 147, verse 19. Verse 19, and it reads, he showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. Verse 20, he hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. And that's why we going through what we going through, because he gave his word unto Jacob, his law, statutes unto Israel. You know what I'm saying? That's why we get punished, because if we break his law, statutes, and commandments, we get punished. These other nations don't get punished. That's why they're the head, and we are the tail. That's why they're flourishing here. You know what I'm saying? And we are not. We constantly being oppressed. You know what I'm saying? We have nothing. You know, we struggle every single day, and we having these fools helping us struggle. It's bad enough we tearing ourselves down. You know, we don't know how to build. You know, with one another. We constantly tearing down. You know, that's all we did. That's all we've been doing. It's tearing down. We got to come together, Israel. You know, but and then he said he hasn't dealt with any other nation. He hasn't dealt with any other people, man. He hasn't dealt with any other nation. This is the Most High's words. He hasn't dealt with any other people but Israel. That's it. You know, this is what I'm reading this in this book right here. But you're gonna have the simpletons out there trying to twist this up. Oh no, that's not what that means. I can't even say that word. What's that? You help put fires out and shit. Retarded?
Oh, what? Retarded?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They those type of scholars. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if you get it, you know. But anyway, yeah, because you know this it's very sensitive here nowadays. You know what I'm saying? If you can't speak their mind, you know what I'm saying? But you can say nigga, you can say kill a nigga all day. like you know, you can say that shit all day. They ain't tripping. Because that's what they want you to do. Kill each other, unalive each other. Unalive. You can't even say kill. Like, and then, because I was going to talk about little kids, unalive people now, like SAing people now, little kids, something ain't working. like, what's the whole point of censoring us or saying, we have to say unalive? Something ain't working. We might as well stick to the basics, kill it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Okay. I said, buddy. Yeah. So let's go to John 3:16, because that's where the Christians go. You know what I'm saying? That's the, a lot of our Christians, that's their favorite scripture right there, and they have no type of understanding when it comes to that scripture. Because we gotta get some. We gotta understand something. Because we just read that he dealt with no other people. You know what I'm saying? But they get this right here. They try to twist it and try to make it seem like it's the whole world without no understanding. I'm sorry, John 3:16. You got it? Yeah, so this is the book of John, chapter 3, and verse 16. Yeah. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life, right? Now, you know what I'm saying? Of course, and they be like, see, it says whosoever. Not only that, they say world, because a lot of us don't know that the word world is it's an ambiguous word, meaning it has more than one meaning. So how you have let's say like with couples, you know what I'm saying? You have a man, you know what I'm saying, he'll say, hey, yeah, that woman right there, man, she my world. You know what I'm saying? Or you got, that woman, you know what I'm saying? Oh, that man, he my world. You know what I'm saying? You got the sports world, right? You got the animal world, right? You know what I'm saying? Like what else? You got so many, like, it slipped my mind. Like, but there's a lot of world stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? Because world is it has to do with the time, a time span as well. You know what I'm saying? Something like that, right? Which have the information. But it's not, and remember another thing. We are speaking a bastardized language. So what it meant in Hebrew, it had a different context. It had a different meaning. You know what I'm saying? And it was talking, but we're gonna get there. But remember, they're gonna make it the English is gonna make it world. This is gonna make it world. You know what I'm saying? See, God so loved the world. You know what I'm saying? But no. And then another thing, who was Christ talking to right here? He was talking to one man. And that man was Nicodemus. They make it seem like Christ was up there talking to everybody, like all kinds of people and stuff like that. Without, you know what I'm saying? Like, so God so loved the world, he was talking to one man. And that one man was a Pharisee. Was a Pharisee. A Pharisee is somebody that teaches, he was a leader of the Jews. He teaches Jews. He's in the synagogue teaching Jews. You know what I'm saying? The Sadducees and Pharisees, right? You know what I'm saying? So he's an educated man, so to speak, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm on the manly level, you know what I'm saying? Like, because obviously he was smart because he went to Christ secretly, you know what I'm saying? He was secret with it. He went to him by night and he said, Rabbi, we know you a teacher. That's what he told him. We know you a teacher. You know what I'm saying? So he, I don't know what happened to Nicodemus after. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the history of Nicodemus or if there's any more. But he was talking to one man. So now, let's go to John 17 real quick so we can get more understanding. Right? Because, they got, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son. You know what I'm saying? Like thinking about the whole world. And Christ said that to Nicodemus, right? One person, right? Look at what he says right here. This is John 17, chapter 17, verse 9. I pray for them. I pray not for the world. I mean, let's stop right there. Something ain't adding up. And then think about who's them. Who's he talking about? I pray for them. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about his disciples. He's talking about Israel. I pray for them, not for the world. You know what I'm saying? It's lucky. But for them which thou hast given me, for they are thine. Who gave him what? The Most High gave him Israel. And they belong to Christ. You know what I'm saying? So the Christians say the God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, you know what I'm saying, for the whole world, right? But then Christ over here saying, man, I pray for them. I pray not for the world. So therefore, we got to understand something. There's context when it comes to the word world, right? You know what I'm saying? So now, let's get it further. You know, put a nail in the coffin right here. Let's go to Matthew 15. He says it again. This is written in red, indicating that Christ said this, right? You know, this is Christ's words. Excuse me. This is Matthew chapter 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Did we not read that the Most High gave him Israel? They're his. And that's who he was sent for, Israel. No one else. And not only that, drop down to 26, he called a woman that wasn't an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? He called her a dog. He called her a straight dog, and she acknowledged that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of Christians, they say, well, see, he gave her a crumb. As if that's something, you know, they try to twist it to make it seem like, see, Christ was, you know, he did that because he was like, she acknowledged that she was a dog. She said, yes, Lord, but the dogs eat under the tables too, the scraps too, something like that. Maybe I'm speaking Mandarin. You know what I'm saying? Niggas don't understand. That's what I just read right there. That's what I saw. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to now. Let's talk real quick. Let's go back to John 3:16. Well, we don't have to go back there. We're going to talk about it. We're going to touch on it real quick because he was talking to Nicodemus, right? Now, Nicodemus knew exactly what world he was talking about as well. How do we know that? Because Nicodemus was a teacher, right? He was a teacher he was a leader of the Jews. He was a teacher. He was a Pharisee. Okay. Now, look at let's go to Luke real quick. Let's go to the book of Luke. And this is how we know Nicodemus knew exactly, because remember, Nicodemus is saying, you know, he knew what he was talking about. He knew what he was talking about, you know, because why? This is what happens because Nicodemus, we're going to read it. We're going to read it. Hold on. Let's go to chapter 4 and 16. Verse 6, starting at verse 16, and it reads, and he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. This is Yahushua, Christ, right? Brought up, and as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read. He didn't go into the synagogue on a Sunday. He went on a Sabbath day. But they Christians, they go Sunday. Christ goes Saturday. You know what I'm saying? I'm a follower of Christ. You're right. You're going the opposite way, nigga. But look. So he went into the synagogue, right? Surely Nicodemus is in there. He said, hey, we know Rabbi, we know you know, I'm paraphrasing, you from the Most High. you special, basically. You know what I'm saying? He said, we know this. He even called him rabbi, which is what, teacher, right? You know what I'm saying? And then it says, so he's in there. He's in there. He got to be okay. Maybe he's not in there. I don't know. He probably didn't go to Sabbath service that day. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna say he's in there, right? Because verse 17. And there was delivered unto him the book of prophets of the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah is Isaiah. For anybody that know, it'll probably say Isaiah in your book, right?
It says Isaiah.
Isaiah, okay. Isaiah. You know what I'm saying? But that's Isaiah. That's the prophet Isaiah. All right? That's the prophet Isaiah. And that's the, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, well, let's go to Isaiah real quick. Okay, he went in there and they gave him the book of Isaiah, right? Is that it? Oh, Slocky, real quick. You don't have to do it. You could go to Isaiah real quick. But it says, and when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written. That's what he did. He went in the book. They gave him the book of Isaiah. He went in the book and found a place where it was written, and he read. So he went in that book, and we was like, hey, this is what I'm going to read right here. He was reading about the prophet Isaiah, right? You know what I'm saying? He was reading his words, right? The book of Isaiah. Now let's go to Isaiah right quick and get some more context on that word, world. Like I said, the Most High is dealing with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. Isaiah 45:17. Right? And it reads, verse 17, but Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded. World without end. Did he just call Israel a world? Hey man, you my world. World without end. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't get around that. That's the world he was talking about in John 3:16. And Nicodemus is a leader of the Jews. He's a teacher of the Jews. He knows exactly what Christ was talking about in John 3:16 when he said word. Because surely, if Nicodemus is a teacher, he knows about the scripture as well. You know what I'm saying? But leave it to the Christian church, who's going to lead you astray and lead you to everlasting damnation instead of everlasting, what does it say? It's like it. Everlasting salvation, but you want everlasting damnation. You know what I'm saying? Like, can you listen to that Christian church, that Christian pastor? He's gonna lead you astray. You know what I'm saying? Let's say 24. Let's go. This is the last one too. But let's see. And then, let's touch on that real quick. You know what I'm saying? It says, ye shall not be ashamed. You know what I'm saying? Are we not an ashamed people? Or nor confounded? We lost. We confounded. We lost 24/7. You know what I'm saying? And we ashamed of, you know what I'm saying? We can't even, like you see certain, certain of us, you know what I'm saying? If you're predominantly around a bunch of so-called white people, you could see the so-called Black, Latino, Native American man, woman, and child. You know what I'm saying? They will be uncomfortable around all those white folks. You know what I'm saying? I see it all the time. I've always seen it. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing is, when I was coming up, because I was just with me like that. You know what I'm saying? Man, because when I first found out about slavery, I was young. I was like, damn, trip me the hell out. And I knew, man, they just like me. You know what I'm saying? Just like on Friday night, like, they bleed just like me. You know what I'm saying? They wear just like me. Man, F them, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how I rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, they trip off them like that. But nah, you know, you get people that act all funny, they get all, you know, quiet and stuff like that, whatever. You know, and they think and they feel they're superior. They feel like that too. Because they prideful, they're prideful people. You know, remember that time when you know, I got a quick story. You know, funny shit. You know, remember this is when I'm in the world, you know, smoking weed, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I had a reaction, right? And I had to, you know, call the paramedics and stuff like that. I ended up in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here now. I couldn't even swallow. I couldn't swallow. That's how bad it was. I thought I was just about to die right there. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't swallow, spit, nothing like that, right? You know what I'm saying? And so I'm talking to the doc, you know what I'm saying? I come to, you know what I'm saying? They, you know, paramedics do whatever, you know what I'm saying? Give me fluids, whatever. I don't know. And so, you know, I'm talking to the doc, and I'm talking to him like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh yes, man, you know, so because he come in, the doctor come in, you know what I'm saying? Old white man, you know what I'm saying? Come in and he talking to me and shit like that, you know. And I'm talking, you know, like, hey, so, you know, did you guys find out, you know, what could it be? You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, you know, probably just panic attack and you know, I'm like, yeah, damn, okay. So I was like, man, maybe it's you know, like, oh, maybe it could be this or something like that, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, you know. And I'm talking to him just like this, you know what I'm saying, but not in a ignorant way or uneducated, you know what I'm saying? I'm over here chopping up with this cat. You feel me? Like, and he gets, then now he gets annoyed. It's like, this is your effing field. Why are you should be happy that, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this young man right here is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, really, you know, trying to figure out things. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could have said, oh, I don't have that much time. Shit, I don't know. But here, take these. You know what I'm saying? Leave and stuff like that. He said, but you know what he said? He said, because he got smart with me. He said something. So I, you know, got smart back, you know, like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever I said, you know, I got a fast tongue sometimes, you know what I'm saying? A smart tongue, you know. And then he said, you're a feisty one, aren't you? That's what he said. And I hear shit like that. You're a feisty one. Because I you know, I go back, especially when I was young. You know what I'm saying? I hear shit like that. I know what you mean. You know what I'm saying? Then you know, I was going to come back, but I was like, you know what? Nah, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I got kids and shit like that. You know, he could blackball me if I get up on him like that and tell him, you know, do what I do best. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, oh, I'm a feisty one, huh? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a feisty one. I said, you can't hold this conversation. Is this too, am I too intellectual for you or something like that? Your brain is that, see, you say shit like that, especially to a doctor, you know what I'm saying? Because you already know they narcissists. You know what I'm saying? They have to let it be known that they're doctors. Like, if I was a doctor, I wouldn't be, yeah, I'm Dr. So-and-so. You know what I'm saying? Like, how small are you? Go get your money, shut the fuck up. And you ain't got to let everybody know you're a doctor. Like, just little ass minded people, right? You know what I'm saying? But anyways, yeah. So, you know, that's what they do. Yeah, but you're a feisty one. You're a feisty one. Really? Yeah, but I'll still remember that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? But you know, this is how they are, man. You know, but let's go to Malachi really quick. This is the last one. Malachi. Because now we know, you know what I'm saying? Like, he said, you would not be ashamed nor confounded. World without end. That's what he said. World without end. Everlasting salvation. You know what I'm saying? The Most High said this, right? And let's see what else he says right here, right? Malachi 3 and verse 6. And he reads, "For I am the Lord, I change not." Let's start right there. He said, I am the Lord, I change not. So when he said an everlasting salvation, Israel shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end. It's clear cut right there. You know what I'm saying? Because he said he changes not. And then what he say? Then he doubled down on it. He said, therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. But who would tell you Israel is consumed? The Christian church, the Catholic Church. We don't know who they are. like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really? Oh, but they do know, they say one tribe exists, and they call themselves Jewish or Israelis. They can't even call themselves their real names. They can't say they're Israel. They can't say they're Israelites. They just say they're Israelis. What the hell is an Israeli? What's a Jewish person? You know what I'm saying? What's a Jewish person? You know what I'm saying? Like, really? Why don't you say who you, if you really from the tribe of Judah, you say, nigga, I'm from the tribe of Judah. You know what I'm saying? But yet, they say those people, one tribe, he said Israel shall be saved, not Judah or Jewish people shall be saved. He said Israel, all 12 tribes. Somebody lying here. And it's not the Most High. You know what I'm saying? It's man. Bottom line, it is man. You know what I'm saying? But with that, you know, close it out. We're going to say, Yahweh Shem Yah Shah Thumb to the brothers. Yahweh Shema Allah Thabai Shem Yah Shah to the sisters. Shalom, Israel.